He is running for the 21st Congressional District. He is going into a primary coming up here just a few weeks away. It is Assemblyman Robert Smullen, and he's on the line right now. Robert, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Bill. It's great to be on the air in the Mohawk Valley this morning. How's things?
Doing well. Well, listen, actually, you could work on warming things up a little bit. I'd find a way to move into your district and vote for you. This weather is just, well, it's May, right? This is what happens in upstate New York.
It's May. It's time to plant the garden. It's time to get things started. But, yeah, it's a little chilly this morning.
Okay. I'm reading a headline here from your campaign. Constantino called retired Marine Corps Colonel Robert Smullen an effing coward. Now he's hiding from debates. What's going on here?
Yeah, that's right. You know, my opponent has the audacity to call me, a retired Marine, 3 combat tours in Afghanistan, a coward. Yet he is unable to meet me in public and have a debate about all of the issues affecting the 21st Congressional District. This is something that the voters, in this case, the Republican primary voters who are going to vote in this June 23rd election, who will decide who is the Republican nominee. I'm already the conservative nominee. I'll be on the ballot in November.
Yeah.
But this will decide who is actually going to be on the ballot. And he's turned down 4 debate invitations at this point. I've accepted all 4. I'm willing to stand in public and answer questions from the media, from the public, to be able to show everybody why I'm the best candidate for the 21st Congressional District, why they should send me to Congress, and he's clearly unable to do so.
Why do you think that is? Why? First of all, one of the radio stations, I know he won't go on. Maybe it should be done here. We'll do it here, and we'll invite you officially right now to do one here. He might do it here, but he's not going to do it across town. That I don't think is going to happen. But why do you think? Why is he saying no?
Well, you know, I think it's because it will show the contrast between his candidacy and mine. You know, here is somebody who's simply trying to buy an election. He's taken a lot of money. He's spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on a political consultant to get endorsements. Yet he's not winning on the ground in the district amongst the 15 counties, amongst the real people that are really on the ground in this district. And what will happen is if he shows himself in public, is that he will show himself to be what he is. He's a fraud. He was a Democrat in 2018 when he first registered for a political party. He had to re-register again during the Biden administration in 2022. He only registered as a Republican after President Trump won in 2024, his second time. So when you think about someone like me, who's a conservative Republican, I was a Trump appointee in the first Trump administration to the President's Commission on White House Fellows. You do the compare and contrast, and you realize that he's not going to be able to hold his own in public. So he's hiding and saying that, well, you know, I don't have to debate because I'm the front runner based on, you know, some poll that they haven't released any of the crosstabs on. So, you know, I find it very ironic what's going on here.
I was just going to say, you know, you bring up a lot of good points there, Mr. Smullen, but he does have the backing of Roger Stone, Rudy Giuliani, and President Donald Trump. That has to hurt the campaign, doesn't it? Your campaign.
Well, it certainly doesn't. It really doesn't change anything. If you're very careful and you're listening to what's going on around all of these counties, from an overwhelmingly positive position, we have the support of hundreds of volunteers who went out and got petitions. We got 10,000 petition signatures. He had to pay for all of those. When it comes down to how much money we've spent, he's spent over $4 million at this point. I've spent just over a couple $100,000, and we're actually ahead in our poll by over 10%. And my favorability ratings are going up and his are going down. So we feel very confident. We feel very comfortable. And this ducking of the debates that's going on right now is just another indicator of that. And it's going to show in how all of the data comes in and how we're actually winning this race on the ground in the district amongst real people.
Right now, by the way, the only polling that's out, you have a poll that is your poll, and he has a poll that is his poll. His shows him winning. Yours shows you winning. There is no independent poll, and based on our conversation this morning with Steve Greenberg, I don't believe Siena is going to poll until fall when it comes to the congressional race. So I don't think we're going to see one before the primary.
I wanted to ask about, you talked about the issues facing the 21st Congressional District in upstate New York and northern New York. What do you identify as the top issue that you want to work on when you get to Congress?
Well, the top issue that I've been working on in the state assembly since I've been the chairman of the Republican conference here in upstate New York is affordability. And it has to do with energy prices. It has to do with this green new scam deal that's making everything more expensive. All of the inflation from the Biden years, those are the things that I'll work on about affordability, about inflation, about energy costs. When I go to Congress next year to represent the 21st Congressional District, you'll have somebody that actually knows the issues, that actually from day one can get to work and can actually help the people of upstate New York to stop what's become a runaway one-party rule Democrat agenda for upstate New York. We're in the midst right now of passing the budget in New York State, and I'm a clear no on a $260-plus billion bloated budget that's just a giveaway to downstate interests that does not have the interest of the people of upstate New York at heart. I'll give you for instance there. If we're going to do something smart for the people of upstate New York, let's kill the electric bus mandate in this budget next week. We can do that. It can be written into law to push this off, to make sure that my bill that allows school districts to opt out is actually implemented. We'll see what happens there. But in Washington, D.C., there's going to be no better friend, no worse enemy than a United States Marine to help the interests of the people, all of the people of the 21st Congressional District.
Can I ask, to be fair, though, I mean, we're still blaming Biden on affordability. Clearly, without doubt, this war has raised prices significantly. And the only time the stock market takes a boom is when President Trump says the war is going to be over any second now. And we've been hearing that now for weeks. You put no bit of responsibility on the president? It's all Biden?
Well, certainly what's being done in Iran had to be done. The Iranians have been at war with the United States for the last 47 years. It's their sworn goal that we, the great Satan, should be destroyed. We should never allow them to have nuclear weapons that they could put on an intercontinental ballistic missile and actually launch towards the United States. That's very much in our interest.
They also want to
destroy Israel. Yeah. And now they're holding the Straits of Hormuz hostage from a military standpoint to charge a security premium to cause oil prices to go up. That should be rolled back.
So you feel, if I could, you feel President, let's forget the Democratic presidents, but even go back to Reagan and to Bush, and to Bush, you feel they all got it wrong by not going in and purposely keeping Iran in check, but by not going in like we have in an all full-out war with Iran, which has resulted in where we are right now. All of those presidents predicted exactly what is going on today, and that was their reason for not going in. So they were all wrong, and Trump is right.
Well, they were presidents in their time. This is the time now that we're
really
facing.
The same scenario, though. It was just back in June.
It's not.
Well, let me just say this: back in June, I thought we decimated their nuclear capabilities with those underground bombs that exploded underground. I just don't
totally obliterated.
I don't see where we're any better off now. It seems like we're in a worse position than we were before, that we would have been better just keeping them in check. It seems that way by what we're living with right now.
Well, I could say that we would agree to disagree, Bill, on the military application and the diplomacy. You know, I've actually been in the Persian Gulf on U.S. Navy ships. I've transited the Straits of Hormuz under combat conditions. And I know that these policies that were gone, this to deny Iran a nuclear weapon, to open the Straits of Hormuz, and to allow the Iranian people the sovereignty to decide their government. I think that this war is going to come to a close sooner rather than later, and I think we should see the job through.
I certainly, listen, you have all the experience. I'm just sitting here as an armchair quarterback that's paying $4 for a gallon of gas.
$4? Where are you getting it at $4? Let me know. That's a deal.
I have a gift card. it helps a little bit.
Okay.
Nonetheless, all right, fair enough. And again, it's interesting because I don't want to say I'm baiting you, but I keep trying to put you in scenarios where you might criticize President Trump, and you will not. I even asked you.
Yes, that's correct.
Asked you a week ago. Do you think President Trump made a mistake by endorsing Anthony Constantino? And your answer was not yes. You didn't agree with that. You kind of walked around it. And I bring this up only because when Constantino was on this program just a week ago, he said, you do not support President Trump. You speak out against President Trump. And I said to him, I don't know what you're listening to, but I've not been able to find Robert Smullen speaking out against Trump ever. So how do you respond? How do you respond to him when he says you're negative on Trump and you don't have Trump's back?
Well, that's utterly nonsense, Bill. In fact, I was appointed by President Trump in the last administration, in Trump 45, in the first administration, as a commissioner on the President's Commission on White House Fellows. And I served very much so in that administration. I attended the first inauguration. I attended the Republican National Convention in 2024. I was on the floor of that convention when President Trump was nominated. And I attended the 2025 presidential inauguration with the New York State GOP. So my opponent is trying to draw this contrast of how great a Trump supporter he is, when in fact he only registered as a Republican and put up a Trump sign on his building after the president was elected for the second time. So, it's utterly ridiculous. He spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on these consultants, and that's what's happening here.
Well, so are you saying the endorsements are bought? Is that what you're saying?
Actually, could you explain that? Because I heard this story last week. It's not that when you're saying he paid for, that he bought signatures. How I understand that is he actually paid people to go out and collect signatures. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. So this is the difference between he and I. He has to go out and send people out there, paid personnel, paid political operatives, one of whom was actually accused and convicted of forging signatures in Washington County in the past. He has to pay his people. Instead, I have real support on the ground. I have committees, all members from all 15 committees in this district, volunteers all went out and got almost 10,000 signatures for the Republican and the conservative lines for me. This is the difference between these two campaigns. And it couldn't be more stark. The contrast couldn't be clearer. Anthony Constantino is trying to buy this election, and I'm not going to let it happen.
We're speaking with Robert Smullen, Assemblyman Robert Smullen, who is running for Congress in this upcoming primary against Constantino.
You referenced hundreds of thousands of dollars on consultants. Do you think he essentially bought the endorsements of at least Roger Stone and Rudy Giuliani?
Well, certainly he is paying Roger Stone, and you can draw your own conclusions from that.
Okay. And then how many of the county committees have endorsed you?
So of the committees that have taken a vote to endorse, all 12 of the committees have endorsed me. They did it by overwhelming margins, most of them unanimously. So when you think about what's actually happening here, the Republican electorate, and again, your listeners need to be reminded, this is about the Republican primary on June 23rd, whom the Republicans are going to nominate. Overwhelmingly, Republicans on the ground are favoring Robert Smullen. And we feel very comfortable, we feel very confident that we are going to win this primary. And keeping in mind, we are already on the ballot in November on the conservative line. We balloted on there with petitions, and I have accepted that nomination. We're going to win this in November.
And then I do question, and to be fair, these endorsements came before President Trump endorsed Constantino, just to be fair. And as Lance and Lee says, please ask, if you're concerned with 99% of Trump-backed candidates just won their primaries just the other night. Does that concern you?
Not at all. You need to look at it in the holistic view is what do the people, this electorate, the Republican primary voters in the 21st Congressional District think? And all of our data shows that I am overwhelmingly in the lead and that we're going to win this thing.
And then I did want to ask, are you, I don't understand why Oneida County has not endorsed you.
So that's one of the 3 counties that chose not to hold an endorsement vote. If you ask the committee members that are resident in the 21st Congressional District, ask them the question who they would favor in this race, and I would tell you that overwhelmingly, I believe that they would support me. I also feel that's the case in Montgomery County as well as Saratoga County. The other counties
that have not endorsed. Yep.
Not to endorse, not to have a vote to endorse.
Right. I find that strange. And meanwhile, here in Oneida County, we're a pretty large population center in this 21st Congressional District. Tim Reed with a question.
Morning, Robert. So there were 4 debates that were planned, and Constantino has, I guess, 3 of those he is not in, and 1 he has yet to confirm. Oftentimes what happens with debates when you have a candidate that refuses to go, you have these empty chair debates, I guess. Would you be willing to be doing that in lieu of Constantino showing up?
Yes. So of the 4 debates that were proposed, he's outright refused 3 of them: a joint debate in Watertown, a debate in Utica on the radio, a debate in Gloversville hosted by the Daily Gazette. And just very recently, CBS 6 in Albany has confirmed to me, to my campaign, that we are going to have a town hall forum on May 28th for CBS 6 in Albany. And it will be an empty chair debate if my opponent does not show up. So I welcome the opportunity. I look forward to getting out there in public, explaining to all of the people whom I would represent in this district, because I am a servant leader. I am going to represent all of the people of this district, why I'm the best candidate, why I'm the real conservative Republican. I'm the lifelong Republican in this race. I have my record in the Assembly. I have my record in the Marine Corps. I think I'm the best candidate, and I'm ready to meet anyone in public and talk about that.
I have somebody asking, do you have any paid consultants?
Well, yes, of course. I have people that are on my team, and they're working very hard, and they're very good to be able to help me with this campaign. And in fact, we are doing excellent on the fundraising front. We are raising money in the district, in New York State, across the country. Things have been going very strongly for us, and our campaign is very active, and that's why we're winning this race.
So I guess their question is, why is it wrong for Constantino to pay consultants, but it's okay for you to pay for consultants?
Well, so that's politics, isn't it, Bill? About consultants?
Yeah, I'm a paid consultant, not on this campaign, but I don't think I would want to get involved in this one. This is a doozy. But I'll tell you though. I guess the question is, if you're using paid consultants against Anthony Constantino, but you also have paid consultants, what's the difference between the two?
So the difference between the two is what the consultants do and, how much money is being paid. He spent $4 million at this point, by my calculation, maybe more, maybe less. We've only spent a couple $100,000, yet our data shows that we're winning. So who's got the better campaign?
Well, I'm not saying whether it's better or not. I'm just saying that, and that $4 million was not all paid on. He spent a lot of money on TV. It's not all paid on consultants. That was a listener question. There's a potential voter asking that question. Anything else?
Dave in Inlet says the sticker fool says debating would be disrespectful to the president. Constantino is the real coward.
Yeah, I don't see that as a valid reason for not debating. And I also think he said that it would be disrespectful, disloyal, forgot his immoral or whatever he said, that if you were to stay on, if you did lose, and I know you're saying you're winning and you're going to win, but if you did lose, he said that would be disrespectful to stay on the conservative line and actively campaign. I'm assuming you disagree with that.
Well, so, I'm not going to agree with anything that my opponent puts out. The latest thing, he's in the Times-Union, showing that he's quoting them, and they've actually pushed back and said, no, we weren't quoted.
Okay, I want to bring that up because that was going to be my last question. Here's the quote in his commercial. Constantino is now guaranteed to be an entity in Congress. So he says they made that statement after President Trump endorsed him. You're saying that the Times-Union says that they did not say that.
Well, that's not what the headline in the Times-Union today says, and they're making him change it. And, that's just indicative of where my opponent's campaign has been, where it's going.
Did the Times-Union explain? I didn't see that story yet. Have they explained what they did say, or are they saying nothing close? What did the story say?
Well, I'll certainly let them speak for it, but it's another example of what's happening in this race. And my opponent is, he's a fraud. He's unfit for office. He's called me a coward, somebody who went to Afghanistan after 9/11, and he's thinking that he can say anything about anybody, and it's simply not true. And voters are actually wising up to this, and this is what I think is happening here in this race. And why we've got the endorsements of real people on the ground is because of credibility, of integrity, and this debate thing is just a prime example of it. He's refusing to debate. He's hiding from being out in public and having a direct comparison and contrast with his opponent here for this Republican primary, which is only less than 2 months away. It's ridiculous.
Okay, and if I could, I just so happen to have a Times-Union subscription. Constantino campaign used fake Times-Union quote in political ad. That's the headline in the Times-Union today. They're saying the quote that he has in his commercial is fake.
Wow.
That's big.
That is big.
Okay, Robert, we appreciate it. Thank you for that tip. I've been searching to find that quote and to authenticate it. And, well, the Times-Union says it's not real. Holy moly. Robert Smullen, we appreciate your time, and let's do it again.
Great. Thanks for having me on WIBX, Bill. It's great to connect with your listeners, as always. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robert Smullen. Quick break. We'll talk about it. I'll read more from the story. We have a guest to squeeze in here quickly. Quick break right now at WIBX.